People can spend 20 minutes, half an hour, upwards of 6 hours even playing games. What they don't realize is how much work actually goes into creating said game. Writing game narrative is always fun. Being able to bring this world you've created in your mind to life is an amazing experience. But there's also a lot of work that goes with it, and sometimes that world you've created will never make it to fruition. The initial idea was called Project Spitball, and we wanted it to be a top-down shooter, dungeon crawler-esque game with a randomly generated dungeon. We were really excited for this project, putting forth a lot of great ideas to expand on the concept throughout the week. Then came the first meeting with our professor to present said idea. It did not go well. Numerous problems were pointed out in the original concept, and suggestions were made to rectify them and make the game better. After some internal discussion, we decided to scrap the idea but keep similar gameplay and mechanics of the original concept. Some iteration and a successful second meeting with our professor later, Fort Snow was born.
After we had a draft to a game concept that we were happy with, the next step was to go into the pre-production phase and build an initial prototype so we could test our closed game loop. We started with a simple empty room with 2 enemies and a player. The player would need to shoot down the enemies and go through a door that would just reset the level. Once we had this closed loop working, we were able to test a few mechanics like player and enemy speed, player health, fire rate, and damage. After a bit of trial and error, we balanced the game in a way that would be most fun and immersive for the player, with a gameplay that wasn't too fast or too slow, but also in a way that the player character could pick up power-ups along the way and improve their base stats. After implementing an original prototype for the game and defining how our mechanics were going to work, it was time to move to the production phase. We were a little unorganized at first, but after implementing some agile methodologies for project management, our workflow improved exponentially. We use a methodology called Scrum, where we don't plan every single task necessary for the project before it begins. We instead build our project in a series of iterations called sprints that break down a big and complex project into smaller and simpler activities. A sprint consists of a short period, usually between 1 to 2 weeks, and in that time we prioritize and plan small tasks that need to be completed by the end of the sprint. At the end of every sprint, we would meet up and discuss what was accomplished in the past week, what problems we had and how could we solve them, as well as what tasks need to be prioritized for the next sprint. This allowed us great flexibility in prioritizing the features we were going to develop, as well as to quickly address any issues we had during the production of the game.
For our part, we decided to use a pixel cartoon style to fix all the concept. Jackie is our player character. We made him cute and shorter, holding a snowball in his hand. And for the monsters, actually I did a lot of prototypes, designing them from thumbnails, revised sketches to final concept. All the monsters are coming from the real life, like snowmen, snow monster from the Himalayan, snowball, etc. We don't want to make it bloody because this is more like an imaginary world by the child, but they should look like something that has evil spirit because they are controlled by an evil doctor, Casanas. And at the end of the journey, the player will meet the final boss, engaging in a fierce battle with Casanas and his powerful Yeti machine. This is inspired from one of my favorite characters, Dr. Zombie from Plants vs. Zombies. For the environment, we want to make a dungeon-like room where Jackie starts everything. The room is surrounded by a solid wall of ice. I use blue flames and lighting to make the scenes a little more fantastical. And the boss room is changed into purple to make it look dangerous.
After weeks of work on the project, we finally got an initial version of the game working and ready for external playtests. We got a lot of feedback out of those tests from all sorts of players, and we realized we still had a lot of work to do and only a few weeks left to finish the game. Due to the short amount of time we had left, we decided to remove some of the features we wanted to add to our game. We wanted to deliver a complete and polished product rather than an incomplete game with lots of rushed features. In the end, we were all proud of how our game turned out. There are still features we all want to add to the game, and we might keep working on it in the future. But nevertheless, the making of Fort Snow was a great experience, and we are glad we were able to share our game with the community.